Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to Questing for Glory, Hope, and Healing. I'm Ellen Motos, and I'm going to be your host here for Fire Emblem Three Houses. We've got commentating by Claris on this one, and the runner is Kirbymastah. I'm going to get ready to figure out which bid is going to win, but take it away, Kirby.
Hi, I'm Kirby.
Hi.
And we have Claris.
Hi, Kirby, just real quick, can you introduce this beautiful man to us here?
Oh, yeah. Let him introduce himself for a second, okay? Turn up your audios for a second. I think his name is Ferdinand von Ayer.
I am Ferdinand
Alright,
von
so yeah. The bid war shouldn't be closed until like a few minutes into the run, because that's when we decide the routes, like a few minutes into the run. But we do have the naming incentive for our main character, Byleth. So we can get ready to close that in a bit. But yeah, this Three Houses, the most recent, what's it called? Fire Emblem game that was released around last year. And this game has 4 different routes you can take. And that's what the bid war is based off of. And we speedrun this on normal difficulty, classic difficulty, because that is the fastest combination of difficulties to speedrun this on. So yeah, and on commentary with me is Claris, another person who has ran this game and done a lot of the rounding work for it too.
Yep.
So a lot of what you see is thanks to her, and a lot of the community overall.
You are welcome. And yeah, I'm far from the only one who's contributed.
There's just been a lot of work. It's a community effort, and that goes for pretty much any RPG speedrun. But yeah, without further ado, feel free to give me a countdown whenever you're ready.
Okay, let's go with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's go. Of course, we're going to be skipping every cutscene, and then at the very start of the game, we're introduced to our main character, Byleth, who is going to be our avatar, and we get to name her. So if we have the naming incentive ready, the question is, are we going to be naming her Bob or something else?
It looks like with $100, Bob is the winner.
Awesome. I'm guessing that's just Bob, capital B.
That's correct.
Awesome. And we can also select the gender of Byleth, but in most cases, female is faster. The only route where that doesn't matter is Azure Moon, but every time I try to speedrun Azure Moon with male Byleth, the game just like gives me terrible level ups and luck, so I think that's the game telling me to never play as male Byleth in the speedrun. So, yeah. We're diving into the game now, so we're going to be thrown straight into battle in the Prologue. And this is a turn-based strategy RPG game with a grid-based combat system. So right off the bat, I'm using a combat art called Wrath Strike. It's basically an ability you can use with your equipped weapon that takes up more weapon uses, but it tends to be more powerful than your standard attack. And the combat art Wrath Strike is pretty nice in the first few chapters. It allows us to one-shot a lot of the enemies in this map, and by a lot I mean like the first one. But each map has a different set of objectives. Most of them are defeat the commander, which is self-explanatory, just defeat the boss. In the case of the Prologue, we have to defeat this guy named Costas up here. So we're going to lure him out and then take him out on the next turn, unless we get a lucky crit.
I'm sorry to break it to chat, but we can't actually marry anyone in this run.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, we
Alright,
won't obtain the ring.
So yeah, every time you level up, every stat has a chance of growing. The stat that we're looking for the most is Strength, which we unfortunately did not get. It's a 45% chance with the Byleth we have currently. We did get Dexterity and Speed, which are nice, but Strength is by far the most important stats. And we'll get into what the stats do down the road later on when we have some time to explain that. But yeah, so in a few minutes, we'll be selecting which house we'll be taking. So if you want to snipe a different route, I think Crimson Flower is currently winning, then you got to get your donations in right about now. So you just have a handful of cutscenes to skip and some tutorial stuff. Whee! Oh yeah, this game has a lot of loading screens, but like you have a little Byleth, you can kind of just jump around here. Kind of cute. and you can have her dash dance like this. So that's how she learned how to dash dance in Smash. All right, so we also kind of have these monastery segments in the game. We want to minimize this as much as possible because they take a lot of time. The first handful are forced due to like tutorials and story reasons and such. I'm going to be zooming in the camera and pointing it down to reduce lag because this game lags a lot, unfortunately. And we have our first quest we need to do, which is to run around talking to the 3 house lords. And we got doored.
I hope you've had a chance.
Yeah. I personally never figured it out, but sometimes the door opens immediately, sometimes this door takes like 10 seconds.
If you open up a save in this area before starting a run, then that door will always open instantly. I just always forget to do it for a marathon run.
Have you met the folks?
But if you don't do that, then it's basically effectively random as far as I can tell.
Please accept.
So.
I hear you're investing.
Yep. All right. Have there been any new donations? Because we are about to pick the house we go with.
How are you enjoying?
I don't see any.
So Crimson Flower it is.
Let me get one last refresh.
So you have chosen.
Yes, with $165, Crimson Flower is going to be the route.
Woo!
Yes!
Yeah, the,
option, best girl.
The 2 donation options were basically, do you want me to go really underestimate or really overestimate?
This?
Because the last chapter in Silver Snow is not very kind for marathons. But on the other hand, Crimson Flower is by far the shortest route, because it has the fewest chapters. But it's also has a lot of broken stuff in it, and it's pretty cool. Alright, so in the Crimson Flower route and the Silver Snow route are both routes from the Black Eagle's house, but they do split off at some point in the main game. In order to take the Crimson Flower route, we do need to build up to a C+ support with Edelgard. And so a lot of the routing you'll see here, such as certain dialogue options we take, are specifically routed to hit that threshold of getting a C+ support by the time we need it. Okay. Most important part in a run.
The most important part of the run.
I legitimately practice that menu because it's just too important. This outfit is not paid DLC actually, so like if you have the internet, you can play with this outfit, and it's a very pretty outfit. Alright, dialogue option. Don't forget to not skip this cutscene. Congratulations! I did not skip the cutscene. Sweet.
Yeah, that's probably the hardest part of this route, remembering to not skip the cutscenes.
Pretty much. So yeah, that conversation dialogue option gave us 5 support points with Edelgard. And we have our first battle after the prologue. This is a mock battle, one of 2 mock battles in the game. And normally in classic difficulty, if a unit dies, then they are dead permanently. But in the mock battles, if a unit dies, they are not dead permanently.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
Stay focused.
Oh, I was mixing up strats. Oops. Good job, me.
Oh yeah, okay. These early chapters, each house does basically the same chapter. So it's really difficult to remember like the different strats each house does and like keep them mentally apart from each other.
Yeah, like I was mixing that up with a different house strat, but that's okay.
I'll be fine.
Okay, this is a route map, by the way, and route maps are maps with the objective where you have to take out every enemy unit on the map. Okay. Wait a second, that something messed up there. Michi should be dead. And we'll figure things out.
Coming out with you know what?
And you know, we'll give Ferdinand von Ayer a kill because he's Ferdinand von Ayer, so let's do it.
I can fight through anything.
And we just have one enemy left to take out. So we want to feed as many kills to Byleth as possible because she's going to be our main combat unit for the majority of the first half of the run. Okay, so we gotten 4 level ups. 2 of them have been strength, that's around on par with average because her growth is around 45%. So that's fine.
Yeah, 2 of them were also speed, which is really nice as well.
Speed is pretty important for the early game. Not quite as important later, but you do need you do want to get speed to be able to double attack enemies. So if your speed is at least 4 points higher than your target enemy, then you get to double attack them, which is why speed is typically one of the most important stats in most Fire Emblem games.
You are wrong.
All right, so chapter 2. We have another mandatory monastery segment. And a few mandatory quests we need to do. Basically, these quests are tutorial segments that teach you what battalions are, how to get around the map, and so on. What we're going to do at the start of this monastery segment is to run down to the greenhouse, not because we need the greenhouse, but because we need to unlock it as a warp point for the chapter afterwards, just to save a bit of time. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to my dad, Geralt. He has a mandatory quest for me to accept. This quest is leading the charge. I complete this quest by going to the 2nd floor and grabbing a manual or something like that. I don't remember. And now I'm going to be running down to the greenhouse with the camera pointed down, like a GoldenEye speedrun. And now the greenhouse has been unlocked as a warp point. I still need to talk to Edelgard because that is another mandatory quest. So we find her here.
Is there any...
Thankfully, you can just warp up to the 2nd floor, so you don't have to go here manually. Okay, yeah, so now we have our instruct segments coming up. Could you explain this really quickly, players?
Yeah, so you can choose 2 different stats, like 2 different weapons to instruct your students in.
May I ask?
And so during the week, they'll gain weapon experience in those 2 different weapons. So, like, Edelgard, like, she's going to be mainly an axe user, so you want to increase her axe strength. And those, I'm doing a bad job explaining this, but yeah.
It's fine. I have Edelgard set to Axe and Flying because we want to make her a Wyvern later, and then we have Linhardt set to Faith so he can learn Warp. That's the main thing you need to remember. That's relevant for now. Okay, so we have our first auxiliary battle, and auxiliary battles are basically grinding maps, but this one is mandatory because we're kind of still in the tutorial segment. So we're pretty much just going to feed every single kill to Byleth and have her just kill everything with an Iron Sword. And we're looking out for some good level ups here. She should hit level 9 by the end of this map. No, you're not setting a very good example.
I'm not setting a very good example.
That's good. Pretty good.
Oh.
Another step forward.
One last thing. Units in their class will gain class experience, and at base, Bob or Byleth is a commoner class, and once she masters the commoner class, she learns HP plus 5, which is really easy and quick to learn, so that just helps her bulk a lot in a really easy manner, quick manner. Strength and speed. 18 strength, that's pretty darn good. That's 5 strength points out of 8 levels, so that's above average. Very solid.
Yeah, that's really good.
Very good. Alright, so what we're going to do every week now is that normally when you get into a Monday, which you can see on the calendar, you get to instruct your students manually and increase their rank specifically. this takes a lot of time, so we're just going to auto-instruct every single week if we can. Yeah, her strength growth is 45% as of now.
Perhaps I.
And now that she's mastered HP plus 5, I'm going to go ahead and certify her now. So when a unit hits level 5, they can become certified as a beginner class. This isn't strictly necessary per se, because like the Myrmidon doesn't help her that much at this point in a speedrun. It's only relevant for one map, but it does give her +1 speed and a +5% speed growth, which is nice, and a bit more sword experience, which is just nice for consistency's sake. And what I just did is what's called a seminar, which is an option that nobody ever does casually outside of the one forced one, where basically you can have a specific set of students gain a lot of experience in 2 specific areas. In our case, we picked Manuela, so that Byleth gets sword experience and Linhardt gets faith experience. So the main thing we want to focus on for Byleth's skills is swords and brawling. We want her to hit C swords so that she's guaranteed to be able to certify as a mercenary class. And once she hits C swords, we're going to focus on her brawling rank so that she can hit D brawling. D brawling will allow her to use steel gauntlets, which is just much better than the iron gauntlets. Wrong weapon. That was not the one.
Is that the one? Thanks. Thanks.
Usually casually you want to use Sedith as your mandatory seminar because he teaches authority, but otherwise, yeah.
Professor.
Okay, if you're a Caspar fan, or a Hubert fan, or a Bernadetta fan, or a Dorothea fan, or a Petra fan, or a Von Eyre fan,
As you wish.
this chapter might be a little bit unfortunate.
That's my cue.
Just a little bit.
It's fine. Nothing's gonna go wrong.
Nothing's gonna go wrong here. Don't get your cry emotes ready. Okay, this map is a defeat boss map, so we just have to get Byleth up to the very top of the map and take out Costas, who was the boss in the prologue, if you remember correctly. Okay, sea swords, nice. So now I'm gonna go ahead and switch to iron gauntlets. Gauntlets are a special kind of weapon. They're basically brave weapons, and brave weapons in this game allow you to attack twice per attack when you're attacking on player face. And so gauntlets are really weak. They only have 1 might, I think, the iron gauntlets. No! I know. Wow. But steel gauntlets have 3 might, whereas iron gauntlets have 1. So steel gauntlets will effectively let us do 8 extra damage because we typically attack 4 times the gauntlets. Sad. Bernie scream. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Von Eyre.
I am Ferdinand
Sorry.
von Eyre.
But yeah, we're killing off every single student besides Edelgard and Linhardt because, well, killing them off is much faster, unfortunately. Because if you have a student alive, they're going to be learning stuff every month through the game, which costs time. They're going to be asking you a lecture question, which costs you an extra roughly 10 seconds per month. Per extra student, I should say. And you have to undeploy students in a lot of extra maps, which costs time and so on. It's just a lot of time lost in the long run, which is unfortunate. But you gotta do what you gotta do to go fast. Okay. Cutscene. 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 Yes! Neuron lives! Woo! Woo!
On our way.
Alright, so we hit level 11 now. So I'm going to go ahead and certify Byleth as a mercenary now, which is an intermediate class. Intermediate classes, you can become certified as an intermediate class once you hit level 10. And they're generally really good classes because you're going to be an intermediate class from level 10 to 20. They teach you really good class mastery skills, such as hit plus 20, death blow, and such. We're not going to have time to master any of them, of course, in a speedrun. We're going to be using the mercenary class because the mercenary class gives us +1 strength, +1 speed, and also a +5% growth modifier to our strength and speed growth, meaning by the strength and speed growth are now 50% as opposed to 45. Alternatively, we can also make her a thief. A thief is a nice alternative if Byleth gets particularly speed screwed, and it has its own advantages over a mercenary in speedrun. But usually you want to be a mercenary because you really just want speed. I mean, not speed. Strength very badly. Okay, so this is the reason why we had to unlock the greenhouse as a warp point, because if it is not a warp point, we cannot warp straight to this quest. So now we're gonna accept a mandatory quest that unlocks the Battalion Guild.
I have a favor to ask.
A nice music glitch. Wait, has that happened to you before?
I've had similar things happen before, at least.
Thank
I've had it happen like probably 5 or 6 times there, only in that spot though, so. Oh yeah, these lecture questions, we want to give the worst possible answer every time. We actually got lucky because in our first month, any of our 8 students can ask a lecture question, and if it happens to be a student that is not Edelgard or Linhardt, then we lose around 10 seconds, because that means we're gonna get an extra lecture question in part 1. But we got lucky, and I think we got Edelgard, so we just saved around 10 seconds from getting a roughly 25% chance.
Yeah, literally the whole goal of this run is to be the worst teacher you possibly can be.
She's not kidding. You want to give the worst lecture question answers, because you skip the motivation meter from going up, and if you answer too many questions correctly, then you'll gain more professor levels, which is bad, because professor levels mean time loss. Okay. So yeah, the Battalion Guild we stopped by, which is... Battalions are basically like an equipment slot in this game, for lack of a better general phrase. They're really useful and very important. They're not going to be super relevant in this map, but we'll go over what they do later. They do give you the ability to use what's called gambits, and gambits are very useful offensively, because when you land a gambit, then any enemy hit by a gambit will become rattled, and that means they can't move for that turn, and they lose a lot of stats for that turn. But in this case, enemies can also gambit us if they have battalions, and that's very bad, because if we get rattled, that's very, very bad, because we can't move and we'll probably die.
Yeah, this chapter has a gimmick called Fog of War, where there's fog around, so you can only see a certain amount of tiles around you. But it disappears when you fight this like little mid-boss enemy, and then it never comes back up at any point in the rest of the game, aside from side quests. So.
And you have to kill that Dark Mage. The boss Lunato does not show up, and this is a defeat boss map. So this is kind of like a defeat 2 bosses map, sort of. Alright, so I'm going to be attacking with a bow. In most Fire Emblem games, this one included, when you attack with a bow, you attack at 2 range, but you cannot counterattack at 1 range, which is what we want to do in this case, because if you can't counterattack an enemy with a gambit, they're usually not going to try to gambit you. Except, unfortunately, that knight is in the wrong spot. He's supposed to be further right, so I might have to face a gambit chance, because that archer blocked off a tile that he's supposed to be in. Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. That's why you usually try to kill that archer in the previous turn. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. See, I couldn't move here because I got rattled. Hopefully I don't die. Catherine, save us! Catherine, save us!
Careful now.
I think we got a crit.
Oh, okay.
I never thought I'd see you meet this fate. Well,
So, normally I would attack Loa with a bow, and then on enemy phase, he attacks you first. But I didn't attack him since I wanted to heal and guarantee I don't die. You typically don't kill him unless you get a critical hit, and crits deal triple damage in this game. We typically have like a roughly 7 or 8% crit on him, depending on your stats. But we got lucky, so yeah, we take those. We take those. Alright, so this is the first chapter where we get to not do the monastery at all. And again, we want to skip the monastery whenever we can. There is one sort of a event we want to attend this month, though, only in Crimson Flower. So there are various events throughout the month that you can choose to attend, and casually, you pretty much always want to do them. There's no reason not to do them. In speedruns, you don't want to do them typically because they cost you a lot of time. But in this case, we want to participate in choir practice, which picks 2 of your students randomly to participate in. Since we only have 2 students left anyways, it's always going to be Edelgard and Linhardt, which is good, because that means with this event, Edelgard gets 45 support points, I believe, and Linhardt gets 45 faith experience. Yep, and 45 is a lot.
Yeah, for reference, the cutscenes that Kirby has been watching for support points, they each give 5. This gives 45 out of the 200 total you need by the end.
Mm-hmm. So our initial benchmark is to hit the C support rather than C plus support, and the C support requires 100 support points. So we're like almost there. We're gonna hit that in like a chapter or two, I think. Chapter 6. Okay, yeah, so back to battalions. We bought a battalion called Acero's Holy Monks, and Edelgard has it equipped. Acero's Holy Monks, well, battalions give you various stat bonuses, and you can also level up battalions, which is relevant, but there are also battalions that give you supportive gambits. There are offensive gambits and there are supportive gambits that don't attack, but they just use some sort of support spell or whatnot. They can heal, they can let you counterattack stuff, or they can make it so you have +5 movement for 1 turn, and it's as broken as it sounds. And this affects up to 13 units, by the way.
No, it's more broken than it sounds, because it's not just one unit that gets +5 move. It's that unit and every other unit in a 3-tile radius.
Yep. I think that's a total of 13 units. Although I don't think you can ever really deploy that many. Pretty broken. So yeah, Byleth just skipped half the map with the Stride. That is one of the more tame uses of Stride. You're not going to see Stride like super broken early on just because we don't have other broken tools to combine it with. But it's going to be a staple. Oh yeah, this is a defeat boss map. We just kind of reached the boss and bonked him. And we missed the 87, I think. So good job, Byleth. Yeah, by the way, this game's hit rates lie to you. Just like most Fire Emblem games. So this game runs off of what we call the 2RN system. So when a game gives you a hit rate, you'd expect a game to roll a random number between 0 to 99 and then compare it to the hit rate. So like, if you see a 70% chance, then you expect it to be a 70% chance. However, what this game does, and most Fire Emblem games do, is they roll 2 random numbers and takes their average, and then compares it. So in other words, in order to miss a 95%, for example, normally you would expect, if the game wasn't lying to you, you would have to roll a number higher than 95 to miss a 95. However, with the 2RN system, you have to roll 2 numbers where their average is higher than 95, meaning you have to roll 2 really high numbers in a row. So there's an entire chart of like converting the display hit rate to what the actual hit rate is, what we call true hit. But the general rule is that if a hit rate is above 50%, the actual hit rate's a lot higher than it says, and vice versa. If a hit rate is below 50%, then the actual hit rate is lower. And this typically benefits the player, because the player is the one. Usually, you as the player will have higher hit rates, and the enemy will have lower hit rates on you. And generally speaking, we believe it is done in most Fire Emblem games just to make the hit rates line up a bit more accurately with how human perception perceives probability, because we're terrible with probability. So, yep.
Not a total.
So when I mentioned that 87% chance of missing, that's not a 13% chance to miss. That's a roughly 2 or 3%, I think? Because 90% translates to 98.
It's like 3 1/4.
Yeah, because I think 87 translates to like around the 96%. Something like that. Okay, so this map, unless we're speedrunning Golden Deer, this map is it's a doozy. It's a doozy.
About to go on. Oh, sorry. Bob is about to go on a long journey here.
She's about to go on a really long journey. Faith, sword. Oh, right. So battalions have something called durability, and they can kind of lose HP, and if they hit 0 HP, you lose that battalion for the rest of the map, and we actually lost that battalion at the end of last map. I was supposed to replenish the battalion by refilling it there, but then the game already asked me to do it for me because it was already at 0.
Stay focused.
And I kind of forgot. Oops. Oh well. Yeah, so this map is a defeat boss map. The boss is up here. Yeah, so, yeah. Self-explanatory. So the only real thing to note is that we want to aggro some of the archers on the upper floor. These archers up here. Because that'll aggro a lot of the units on the upper floor to start moving towards us, which you kind of want. Because, yeah, you can kind of see that all these enemies started moving, and by the time we reach this area, we can kind of sneak around this way, while those enemies kind of just pass us by this way. And hopefully we'll have to engage as few of them as possible. Otherwise, though, this map, is gonna take a while, so we could probably squeeze in a donation or two if we have any.
Cool. I do want to mention we are here supporting NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, whose work is focused around 3 pillars. The one I'm going to talk about is awareness. NAMI participates in nationwide awareness opportunities like Mental Health Month, Suicide Prevention Month, and Mental Illness Awareness Week. NAMI has partnerships with a wide range of companies and organizations that NAMI uses to get their name and mission in front of new audiences.
Cool, thank you. Alright, so we're gonna make a bit of a detour. Not only are we kind of like sneaking past all these enemies, but we're also gonna go ahead and take out this knight with a we're gonna gambit this knight because when an enemy is rattled, they can't gambit you. So he's just gonna attack us instead directly, and then we'll hopefully kill him on enemy phase. And what that does is that we pick up a really important item called the accuracy ring, which is what it sounds like. It gives you +10 accuracy when it's equipped, and that is a pretty big deal, especially with how the 2 iron system works. Also, I just noticed this battle has 23 strength already.
Another
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
That's pretty good. Just saying. Just saying. Yeah, so one other thing to note, we have what's called the Sword of the Creator, or what some people like to call the Brick of the Creator, because it's not a very good weapon. But it is our main 1 to 2 range option. It allows us to counterattack anything at 1 to 2 range, including mages. Archers have 3 range, so we can't really do much about those. It's not a very good weapon outside of that, because it has like, it's not that strong, and it's really, really heavy for what it does, so it's not a fantastic weapon. But it allows us to use a pretty nice combat art called Ruptured Heaven, which will be relevant in a few cases. Alright, chapter done, except not really, because surprise, Miklon is now a monster, and monsters are interesting in this game. So you can't really cheese monsters as easily as you can cheese like human enemies, because monsters have multiple health bars, and they also have barriers that half the damage they take. So they're pretty much the game's way of preventing you from one-manning the entire game. Or
one-womaning in this case.
Yep, one-manning in this case. Unfortunately, we only have this lady trying to take him out, monster out by himself. So, yeah. There's a lot that can go wrong with this fight, unfortunately, but we're just gonna see how it goes.
Yeah, fortunately that heal tile is a big help.
Mm-hmm. We're alive! Okay, I'm gonna use a bow.
Track.
Okay, we dodged. So yeah, hopefully that will destroy that barrier, because you can counterattack that monster sometimes with a bow. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but a counterattack and destroy the barrier at the same time. But we should be good as long as we... No, we're good. Okay. So yeah, this chapter went a lot more smoothly than it looks. This is like the biggest reset point for any route besides Golden Deer. Like, easily the biggest reset point, because there's so much that can go wrong with that monster fight, and if your battle isn't bulky, she can just really easily die before even reaching the boss. Because she just takes so many hits, and you have to rely on dodges.
Professor,
Oh yeah, this is a forced cutscene. Not much to do with this. If we have Sylvain in our party, we can actually keep that weapon called the Lance of Ruin, which we do in the Silver Snow route.
you have my grad. Please.
But in our case, we don't have Sylvain yet, so we don't have that option.
I assume. Professor.
Okay. So we don't need to go to the monastery, but for the sake of the speedrun, we will go to the monastery because we're going to recruit what is one of my favorite units in the game, Shamir. She is a fantastic unit. She is a sniper, and snipers are an advanced class. You normally cannot become certified in an advanced class until you're level 20, but we're going to recruit a sniper at level 11, I think. And her base stats will be like really high because they're the base stats of the advanced class. And she is just very good. And we're also, while we're here, we're going to be doing some other stuff to build up our support with Edelgard and doing a few quests. So, 'cause, 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 ' So there's normally a requirement for recruiting a Church of Cerros unit like Shamir or Catherine. You normally have, if you don't have a support with them, you need to be level 15. Thankfully, we're way past that, so we can just recruit her for free. And now we're gonna kind of run around the monastery, picking up a few gifts here and there to beat Edelgard.
I can assist with. I'm available.
Owl feathers, I don't know why, but owl feathers are apparently really something that everyone in this world likes. Because they always give 20 support points, because everyone likes them, and if you give a gift that someone likes, then you get 20 support points. It's 10 if they're neutral to it. So, and then we're gonna do a quest with Geralt, because it's very convenient, very fast, and he gives us 3 free gifts, which is really nice.
I have a request. Thanks for your help.
And then we're gonna go over to one of Claris's favorite characters, Edelgard, and just feed her a bunch of gifts. Whee!
Woohoo!
So yeah, now she should be at C support at this point. So she should ask to talk to us in the calendar. And we're gonna make a few more errands, pick up an owl feather here. Run over this way. And then we're actually gonna recruit Annette for mission assistance. It's an interesting mechanic in this game. You can temporarily recruit a unit for 1 chapter. They won't gain any experience, but they will help you out. You can deploy them as if they're a normal unit. And Annette has a personal skill called Perseverance, which is effectively Rally Strength. And Rally Strength is an ability that she can use where if she uses Rally Strength on another character, that character will gain +4 strength for the rest of that turn. And that's very important because we're going to try to cheese this map with Shamir. Shamir can attack at 4 range with Curve Shot. Unfortunately, with how she is weighed down with her initial weapon, she is exactly 4 speed short. Her speed is exactly 4 points lower than the boss we have to kill, who is the Donkey Kong, or Death Knight. And that means the Death Knight's gonna double attack her, and she'll just die. So yeah, we need to like either route this entire map, or we can just bonk this boss here in this chamber. And since we have Shamir, we can kind of just reach him at 4 range. But if you couldn't tell, he kind of slaughters her. But with Rally Strength, that will make it so that Shamir's speed loss from getting way down is decreased by 1 point. So now she is exactly 3 points slower than Donkey Kong, and now she does not get doubled. So she can safely attack him as long as she doesn't get 18% critted. Pretty cool strat. And we're just gonna keep bonking him with Shamir.
I'm good now.
And hopefully not get 18% critted. And meanwhile, Bias is gonna go ahead and get some experience here and also pick up a door key. Door key that we're gonna pick up is gonna be used in chapter 12. Just FYI.
Stay vigilant.
So yeah, if you're a Shamir fan, that's her biggest contribution to the run. Pretty much teasing this map for us. I don't know what we do without her. It would probably suck a lot. But pretty much every route uses Shamir for this fight, except for the Golden Deer. Because the Golden Deer kind of takes a different route, since the Golden Deer can learn Warp much earlier.
Professor,
So yeah, Shamir is like really important in most of the routes. She's going to be useful for the rest of the run just as a support unit
I see.
as well, so
You know it is.
you'll be seeing a lot of her, even if it's not for combat.
I see. After
Yeah, we never talked about Divine Pulse. I don't think we used it yet. We'll talk about it when we get there, if we have to, because we will at some point. It's a Fire Emblem speedrun.
We'll talk about it next chapter.
Yeah, we'll talk about it this chapter, because it's going to happen this chapter. Yeah, so Claris, how much do you like this chapter? Chapter 7.
I love it!
Yeah, it's so great, isn't it? Yeah. Oh. So you want to make sure that you say yes to her support. I mean, it's easier said than done. It sounds really easy to do, but it's really easy to just accidentally skip it by pressing B. Because if you don't talk to someone, accept their support on the first opportunity they ask you, then you will not get plus 20 support points. Because if you do, then you get plus 20 support points. So right now, our support with Edelgard after that C support is at 120 points. Or 21, I think.
Yeah, 121.
121. But if we didn't accept that on accident and we just went to the support through the menu, then we would be at 101 points, and that would throw things off pretty badly. We just got a new unit, Flame. She's a pretty handy unit because she's been auto-leveled to kind of be not under-leveled, and she's a really nice support unit for Claire's favorite chapter coming up.
Professor.
She's a healer.
Dad?
Healers are good, and we're gonna really want a healer for this chapter. One last thing to note, I changed some goals on some students. The main thing to note is Edelgard. She hit C flying, which is what we need to make her a Wyvern Rider. So now we set her to axes and armor, because by hitting C armor rank, she will learn weight -3, which is sort of what it sounds like. It decreases the weight of weapons she equips by 3, meaning the amount of speed she loses from weight is decreased by 3. Like, she loses less speed from equipment, basically, which is going to be important in endgame.
Gronder Field.
Professor.
Okay, so this is a really big map, and it is a really big route map. This is the second of 2 mock battles in the main game, because this is kind of a 3-way battle between the 3 houses in a mock battle. And the other 2 teams, armies, they are different armies, so they will attack each other too. And this is for that reason, this map is a doozy, because after the first few turns, this chapter will be different every time you do it, because there's just so much variance in what can happen between the other 2 teams. So yeah, we have to kill every unit on this map. This army will be fighting this army, and the outcome will be different almost every single time. So yeah. But for now, what we're going to do is go ahead and stride up, because again, stride is broken. And kill off the units that are near our starting points. And have some lettuce.
Stay focused.
Yeah, this is another mock battle. Not sure you mentioned that already. So, if Flame dies, she'll actually still be fine. Unfortunately, Byleth dying is still a lost condition, so you can't have Byleth die. Not that you'd be able to complete the chapter anyway.
This Byleth's so good. 25 strength is so good.
Another.
For reference, 24 strength is what we want to hit by the end of this chapter. So she's already at 25 strength, so that's very good. Okay, so one thing to note that's not quite as obvious from watching this, Flame has a personal skill called Lily's Voice, and what it does is that units adjacent to Flame will take 3 less damage from everything, and that's for that reason we want to have Flame next to Byleth as much as possible, so that Byleth just takes less damage from everything. So yeah, Flame is just really nice for supporting Byleth here, helping her durability, helping her stay healthy, and so on. 26 strength, cool.
Such.
Okay, so now things will get interesting here, because now that we've cleared everything near the starting position, we kind of have... I'm going to zoom out the camera. Normally I don't want to do this because it causes lag, but I kind of need to see what's going on with the other 2 armies. Okay, so the usual. I'm going to have Byleth sneak over to this guy, Felix. He doesn't move until you get in his range, which is really annoying, because that means you kind of have to go out of your way to take him out. Thankfully, there's another unit from the Golden Deer that's still alive, so he can kind of distract. So this guy here can distract Sylvain and Mercedes for a bit, because otherwise this would be kind of scary. Because it's really easy for Byleth to just die. Also, have we ever mentioned how awesome the music in this game is? It's pretty awesome. In this case, I'm using a bow because I can't counterattack Sylvain at 1 range, and that's good, because if I could counterattack him then at 1 range, then he will use a gambit on me. And now I put Byleth at his very edge of his range so that he attacks me at 2 range, but he doesn't have a 2-range gambit, so he's always going to attack me at 2 range and not try to use a gambit on me. So like, just knowing how to do this chapter quickly, it comes down to a matter of knowing what weapons each unit has, how to know when to unequip your weapon, knowing how to avoid getting rattled, knowing how to lure over just enough enemies to survive, so that you can survive and not overwhelm yourself, and so on, and so on. Yeah, this is a map that you just have to practice and do a lot, over and over, to get good at it. And a lot of times, you're just gonna lose a lot of time to stuff. Like, I technically already lost a lot of time, because ideally I would have wanted one of the Blue Lions units to go over to these archers and take them out for me, because I can't counterattack them in enemy phase, so I have to spend 1 turn for every archer taking them out. So unfortunately that didn't happen, but it's not really too big of a deal.
What is this Byleth?
I know. What is this Byleth? What is this Byleth? Should we? I don't know. We can't double him. I wanted to see if I can humiliate this archer with a broken weapon, but that's okay. Yeah, 17 turns is pretty solid.
That is the black.
Yeah. Just, I would say that's roughly the 1/3 point of the run. So after this chapter, we just unlocked a bunch of stuff in the Battalion Guild and the Armory. So, and this is where we need to keep an eye on Byleth's strength stat. If she is not at 24 strength, then we cannot do the fastest strat for this chapter. We just lose around 20 seconds trying to do a slower strat.
Congrats on getting through that chapter without Divine Pulse, by the way.
Oh, you're right. I never Divine Pulsed. Thank you. Yeah, so yeah, 24 strength is what we need. We want 25 strength, ideally. Well, more strength is always better, but 25 is also another threshold because we want to buy another battalion that gives us +2 attack. Because we want to start training this battalion as early as possible. The battalion we have right now is Gerald's Marks, which gives us +3 attack, +10 crit, +15 avoid. What that means is that by buying this battalion we want to trade, we're going to lose 1 attack for some time until it's fully leveled. So if we're at 24 strength, I know. If we're at 24 strength, we can't actually buy that battalion and do the fast strat of this chapter at the same time. So 25 is the threshold to be able to do the fast strat and train that battalion earlier. If we're at exactly 24 strength, we would buy that battalion and just throw it into the barracks for now, and keep Byleth with Gerald's Marks for this chapter. It's sort of the kind of speedrun this game is. Like, if you get lucky with your early level ups and stuff, then things become more and more consistent and snowball into more consistency, because I can start training the battalion I want earlier and have more reliability through the late game, and that leads to even more reliability with more flexibility and so on. But if you have less than 24 strength, then you don't have any of those options, and your reliability is just going to struggle so much from here. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and buy the battalion called Empire Pegasus Corps, which is a flying battalion that gives the most hit out of all flying battalions available to us right now. And hit is the most important stat we're looking for from battalions, because hit rate means more reliability. I don't know, is that the one? I don't know, is that the one?
No.
Okay. Is that the run, though?
Judging by this Byleth, yes.
I will prevail. Stay focused.
Alright, so the reason we need 24 strength is because 24 strength is the threshold to take out this jerk right here. Yeah, so we're way over. So we kill that jerk pretty easily. The Funeral of Flowers is kind of interesting. I didn't really like it at first, but after like listening to it more and more, it started just kind of growing on me a lot. And I like that theme a lot now.
The part with the Song of the Nabateans, like that leitmotif in the middle, I really like that part.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. So we're reaching Claris's real favorite part of the run, the dancing competition.
You did.
So we're gonna be exploring the monastery again, even though we don't really need to, but we really want to right now, because we want to participate in a dancing competition. We need to select a student to participate and win the dancing competition so that they can become a dancer. And if you're familiar with other Fire Emblem games, the dancer is a unit that allows another unit to move again. It's pretty much a staple for breaking the game.
Happy birthday, Bob!
Happy birthday, Bob! So in order to guarantee winning the dancing competition, what's up?
Never mind. I forgot the bid board was decided after the birthday.
Oh yeah. Normally I would set Byleth's birthday to month 11 for this route, but the other 3 routes you want to set her birthday to month 12, so I picked 12 for marathon purposes.
Before the ball.
Yeah, so yeah, for a student to guarantee winning the dancing competition, they need 14 charm, I think, or was it 13? I can never remember this.
You need 14.
14. Okay, and you know this guy's pretty hot. He's pretty handsome, so we're gonna go ahead and recruit him because we're a girl. So yeah, this is why we're female Byleth. This guy is the reason why female Byleth is faster in almost every route.
I've been thinking.
Because he's actually kind of important, thanks to recruiting him for free.
Great.
Yeah, like characters generally have
Professor, I've got a small
requirements for recruiting them that like you need a specific stat threshold and a weapon rank threshold. Sylvain, though, if you're female Byleth, you could just recruit him for free without any requirement at all.
And the convenient thing is, he joins with 14 charm. So if you recruit him on his on his chapter, he will always win the dancing competition. So he is our free dancer, basically. Slaying can also work, like you can make her a dancer, and in fact, the Blue Lions route makes her our dancer, but all of the other routes make Sylvain a dancer.
It's all
Alright, so yeah, I think that's the last significant monastery segment we're gonna do. We just gave a bunch of gifts to Edelgard. She's at 198 points now, so we just need 2 more support points, and you gain exactly 1 support point for participating in the same battle. So we'll hit C+ support with her just before we need it. Felix! Yes!
Are you ready? And is the band prepared? Very well. Begin!
Yes!
Can't say why! Thanks, Shamir.
Oh, that smile.
Once more.
I love this game.
This game's great. I love it. I've had times where the other 2 houses picked Claude and Dimitri.
The ball.
It's great. You get some pretty fun selections.
Yeah, if you watch the dance competition in like the event viewer and options, it always chooses the 3 house lords.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You're right. Oh, that was pretty good.
Well, we're.
All right. Hey, Sylvain, be our dancer. Whee!
I appreciate your effort.
While we were at it, we did get a $30 donation from Anonymous, who says, because sometimes you need someone to pull you out of the emotional pitfalls. Hashtag not alone. As someone with depression, I find mental health a criminally overlooked part of healthcare. Good luck on their own, Kirby, and thanks to RPG Limit Break for the amazing marathon.
And reminder, there is no shame in seeking mental health. No shame at all. I have been meeting up with a therapist for some of my anxiety issues over the past few years, and it's been very helpful. And there is no shame in admitting that.
That being said, we may be out of incentives for this run, but there are both incentives and a bid war for the next game, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. So check those out and get some donations in for those.
Actually, is there a way to add like a last minute incentive right now if you want to, or just kind of maybe a poll in chat for the next 30 minutes? I think we can do a poll in chat at least. So
Yeah,
we can do I think Claris knows what I'm talking about. You can choose later in this route. You can choose to either save, well, spare, or kill Claude. So yeah, do it. Let's do it. Let's see who wants to kill him, and let's see who wants to spare him.
I will prevail.
Alright, so while we're at it, this is a route map, and you have to take out 4 monsters. And again, they have multiple health bars, so they are a doozy to take out. Violet's gonna take out 3 of them. Shamir's gonna go ahead and gambit this one here. When you gambit a monster, you'll force them to target whoever gambited them, so that monster is always gonna attack Shamir now. We're gonna have some lettuce and have Flame also gambit this tile here. When you gambit, normally barriers take 2 hits to take out, but a gambit completely destroys the barrier, period. So that allows us to do full damage to this tile right here.
Okay, if I may make a case for the kill Claude side, His death quote is amazing, so...
It's really good and sad. Oh,
Yeah.
Makes me so sad, but it's also so good.
I
May I mention how amazing the voice acting is in this game? Like, this game's voice acting is phenomenal. Just FYI. Okay, so Byleth just destroyed a barrier because this monster is weak to swords, and like, weapons effective on a monster will always destroy the barriers in one shot.
well
So,
done.
yep. I didn't mention that we also use Warp. Linhardt just learned Warp, and Warp is a spell that does what it sounds like. It allows you to warp an adjacent unit to a distant tile.
How did you get another level with strength, speed, and defense?
Did I? I wasn't paying attention. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh my god. Wow. This Byleth is on fire. Yeah, and we're seeing the power of dancing, just having Byleth move twice in a turn and just finish off this monster, or I can forget to use Gauntlets instead.
Thank you.
Hey, let's give Flane a kill, just for fun. Yeah, let's do it. Good job, Flane.
Damn, I thought this was finally the chance to introduce Divine Pulse.
I could have Divine Pulse, you're right. I probably would have, but... I was like, I want some lettuce. So... I wanted to give Flane a kill. Oh, spoilers. Dad died. That was not telegraphed at all. Not telegraphed at all.
Professor.
Yeah, there's totally reasonable explanations for why you can't support your own father.
Yeah, the poll should be spare or kill. Those are the actual two options, but you can also say sacrifice or save if you want to. Spare or kill is probably more accurate. 30 minutes should be enough. It's probably a little bit too much, actually, but whatever. Yeah, so rip Dad. Now we're in this month, we're gonna go on a revenge quest to kill our dad's killer. And her name is Kranya, the lady that we're gonna kill, and she really sucks. She's a lot more reliable now, although with slightly slower strats. But the thing about Kranya is that she's very dodgy and she's very fast. Like, no matter what, you're not gonna double attack her. I think she has like almost 30 speed, so you're not doubling her ever without gauntlets. She takes 3 less damage if we attack her from a tile adjacent to her. So, yeah, cool. Makes it even harder to kill her. So you might think, oh, well, why not just attack her at range with the combat art or something? Well, she has keen intuition, which means she gets plus 30 avoid if you attack her at range. Hooray! So if you want to kill her at range, have fun dealing with 50-ish% hit rates. Yay! And if you want to kill her at one range, you kind of have to have like a lot of strength or get a lucky crit, which we probably could do, honestly, with this Byleth. But I haven't practiced a faster strat in a long time, so I'm just going to stick to the safe strat. So yeah,
It looks like this unofficial bid war is heating up. 3 Ducks donated $50 and says, here's $50 to save Claude. This decision can only be reversed by a donation of $51 or more. Good luck, Kirby, and may your Byleth become ever beefier.
Oh god, it's starting. It's starting. It's starting. Okay. So yeah, she sucks. Kranya. She sucks. Well, her name's Monica, but now she's Kranya. 28 speed. Okay, yeah, so, unless you somehow have over 32 speed, or about actually 30, but yeah, you're not doubling her.
Yeah, with this Byleth, you never know.
With this Byleth, you never know. But, yeah. The thing is, though, we bought a battalion called the Empire Archers, and the Empire Archers has a gambit called Fusillade, which is one of the best gambits in the game, honestly. It's a 2 to 3 range gambit that hits a nice area of like up to 5 units.
Well done.
And guess what? Her keen intuition isn't affected by gambits. I mean, gambits aren't affected by her keen intuition ability, so with the gambit, we have 85 hit on her. We're supposed to have 90, but I guess this Byleth got charm screwed. Oh no, 85 hits instead of 90. What will he ever do? And now we can just finish her off like that. So yeah, there we go. Consistent strat, yay. We never talked about Charm. Charm's pretty irrelevant for speedruns typically. it's normally a pretty useful stat in Maddening difficulty because what Charm does is every point of Charm effectively gives you +5 Gambit hit and +5 Gambit avoid, which is really good. But in the speedrun, you kind of want to avoid getting any chances of getting hit by the Gambits at all, period. So it's usually irrelevant. And in other cases, you'll typically have enough Charm. You'll typically have overkill Charm to the point where it typically won't matter. Okay, so we did a warp to get Sylvain into this tile, so that by doing a stride on Edelgard, we got Sylvain and Byleth both strided. So they both are running around with 11 movements. Well, Byleth was 10 movement, Sylvain was 11. And now we can just reach the boss and bonk him. Thanks, Stride. Thanks, Warp. Thanks, Dancing.
Much needed.
Yeah, so what you just saw in this chapter is going to be a little indicative of how broken the rest of the speedrun is going to be. We have Stride, we have Warp, we can dance for a strided unit to make them move like 11 tiles again, if you wanted to. And things are only going to get more broken from here. Well, 45-45, 50-50 for Spare or Sacrifice Claude. Pretty close. Pretty close.
By the way, if you get donations in now too, you're also put in for a physical copy of Super Mario 3D All-Stars. A $15 donation minimum will get you that, and that's only available through the next game, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles: The Crystal Bearers.
Okay. One last thing. This is the point where we want to make sure we had C+ support with Edelgard, and we just did. So we're at exactly 200 points. We were at 199 last chapter, and we just got exactly +1 point. Just in time, because this is the chapter where we need to be at C+ support with her. So yeah, like every support point matters at this point. Like if you miss a single support point, you're not making it. I mean, there is like a backup strat that costs like only 1 second to do if you miss a conversation or something, so it's not a big deal. Also, we got our new class called the Enlightened one for free. It's a pretty solid class. It has Sword Fair, which allows you to deal +5 damage when using a sword. And we also got our sword upgraded. The Brick of the Creator used to have 9 might, I think. But now it's 15 might with 98 and 10 crit, and it's still 1 to 2 range, and it's very strong. And it also lets us use a really strong combat art. And also, the Enlightened one has 6 movement as opposed to the Mercenary class, which gave us 5 movement. So it's a really nice free upgrade we got on Byleth.
Yeah, I believe the weapon weighs 2 less as well, so that's 2 less speed loss.
Yeah. The Enlightened one's like, it's not the best class out there, but it's a really good class for one you get for free. Basically.
How long
it's very convenient. Okay, so we need to go to the monastery because in order to access the Crimson Flower route, we need to have a C+ support with Edelgard and then talk to her in the monastery here. And then go with her to her homeland, Enbar, for her coronation. And this option does not show up unless you have a C+ support with her.
Perfect. It will. It's meant to be a stairs.
I must say,
Thank you.
Pretty cool artwork here.
From this.
Edelgard von Hesfeld.
Okay, typically in Fire Emblem speedruns, you want to have like a flyer because flyers are really broken and you want mobility. Unfortunately, in Byleth's case, she doesn't really have a way to gain like flying rank or anything like that quickly. In order for her to gain flying rank, she has to go to the monastery and do faculty training, which just costs a lot of time. And in her case, we also need to train her in lance rank and get her to at least D+ to have a reasonable chance of becoming a Pegasus Knight. And it's not really that important in part 1 to have a flyer. It's good, but it's not like vitally important because we have other tools to work around it. It's very important to have a flyer in part 2, but you'll see what happens in part 2. You can make her a flyer without a flying rank because, fun fact, you can attempt a certification only if your certification pass rate is at least 30%, but every 2 points of your luck stat will give +1% certification rate. So if you stack out someone's luck stat like crazy, you can increase the certification rate by like a lot. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, if you get her to C lances and 19 luck, then she'll have a 30% chance of passing the Pegasus Knight.
Yeah, luck's actually a surprisingly okay stat in this game. I mean, it's still by far the least useful, but it's much more useful than luck has been in most other games. So luck is not very well explained in this game, honestly. As in most games, what it does is it decreases the enemy's crit rate on you, which is useful. 1 point of luck decreases the enemy's crit rate on you by 1 point. But it also has a lot of other effects, such as certification pass rate I mentioned. Every 2 points of luck gives you +1 crit. Every 2 points of luck gives you +1 magic hits. And every 2 points of luck gives you +1 magic avoid. And yes, magic hit, magic avoid are calculated differently from physical hit and physical avoid. So yeah, luck is kind of more valuable on magic units for that reason. Not by a huge amount, but still, it's there.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, stride, dance, stride, warp, bonk the boss. Spoilers, Edelgard's play member.
I'd like to take it easy.
Oh, Claris, did you know the crest stone got swiped?
I think it happened once or twice.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay. So now, if we went to end bar with Edelgard, we have the option to side with her at this point, and this is where the real route split is between Silver Snow and Crimson Flower. This decision will drastically change the story. So yeah, Edelgard is effectively the antagonist of the game in a sense.
Always protect best girl.
So we're gonna be siding with her, and we're gonna be basically the antagonist of the game now, attacking the Church of Saros in the monastery.
Okay, I'd lie. Bernadetta is best girl, but she's dead now, so it's also...
No, I disagree. Annette's the best girl, and she's alive. Okay? She's our girl. If it wasn't obvious, Annette's my favorite character in the game. Like, even more than Ferdinand von Aegir. Although, Ferdinand von Aegir is up there for me. Alright,
I'm sure they're all fine at the Red Canyon.
Yeah, fun fact, I didn't notice until Claris told me, but this entire area here is the same map as the Chapter 5, the map where we fought Miklon, the monster, in that giant castle map. So, it's a pretty cool reuse of a game asset, honestly.
God, the full ended as a tie?
Oh my god, are you serious? Wow! Okay. Wow!
Well, okay, I vote, kill.
I didn't vote, so... Well, I would have voted fair, to be honest, so it would have been...
No!
Forcing a surrender here is extremely significant, both strategically
Wow. Okay, I'm
and
tweeting this out. This is too good to not tweet.
Of course, this is personal as well. This is where we all...
Alright, so this game says that this is a route map, but the game is lying. This is what's effectively a defeat all commanders map. So if you defeat 3 commanders on this map, Sedith, Gilbert, and Flame, then the map's not over, but the objective changes to defeat the commander, Rhea. Or you can just wait until turn 12, and then Rhea will show up, and the objective will change to defeat the commander. And that is exactly what we're going to do, because it's faster, and we kind of don't want to bother killing this guy. He's yeah. Killing him might be a bit of a doozy. And for some reason, he has keen intuition. As an armor knight. Yeah, we don't want to kill him. He's too much of a pain. Alright, this is the last chapter of part 1. And yeah, this game has a time skip. There's a part 1 and then a 5-year time skip into part 2. Part 2 is a lot shorter than part 1. Part 2 is also, like, in my opinion, the super fun part of the speedrun. So we're gonna get pretty hyped for that.
I will prevail.
So we're pretty much, our goal here is basically just kind of stalling, just making sure nothing can get to Edelgard and kill her because she's force deployed. And kind of just stall things out until turn 12. While killing whatever is nearby. 30 strength. Okay. 30 strength. Oop. This Bob is pretty OP, I must say.
Such power.
Alright, so one last thing to note, since we were able to start training our battalion really early, the Empire Pegasus Corps battalion, it's now capped out, which it gives +4 attack and +15 hit. The +15 hit is a big kicker, because that is a huge boost to your hit rate, which is really good. So, it's very good that we got that capped out before the end of part 1.
Crack.
Oh yeah, so remember that map that we cheesed with Shamir, where we had to bonk the Donkey Kong at 4 range? We had a door key there. We're gonna use it here, like, from 20 minutes ago. I think I killed Seth a turn early. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we should be fine. Right, turn 12, Rhea spawned.
Yeah, we stole her tile, so...
Yeah, we stole her tile. Eh. 31 strength. For reference, 31 strength is the threshold for pilots to equip a to change your battalion to a more accurate one for your endgame, which just helps with reliability a lot. Usually she can't at that point, but, you know, this pilot is a little broken. Alright, so GG, part 1. Now we get to part 2. 5 years have passed.
Yeah, no longer gonna be a Bobless solo.
Yeah, you thought Byleth was broken? Well, you're about to see someone even more broken. Hopefully more broken. And this has been why we've been setting Edelgard to specific goals a lot. She needs to have B axes and C flying in order to become a Wyvern Rider. And she also needs to have C armor to learn weight -3. Otherwise, we set her to just axes so that we can increase her axe prowess as much as possible for as much hit rate as possible. So this is a time skip. Normally, every unit gets a specific number of level ups, auto levels. For example, Seth always gains 1 level up, Flame gets 0, Bernadetta gets 0, Felix gets 3, etc., etc. In normal difficulty only, any unit below level 20 will get auto leveled, all the way up to level 20. And Edelgard has been at level 1 this entire time, so she just got 19 auto levels. Happy birthday, Bob. But before she got those 19 auto levels, what happened is that she became certified into her Armored Lord class automatically. And when you become certified in a class, any stat that is lower than the class's stats gets bumped up to that class's stats. So the Armored Lord class has a base stat of 38 HP, for example. So her HP stat just went up to 38 as a level 1 unit. Her strength stat and defense stat went up to like 20 as a level 1 unit almost. And yeah, and then she gained 19 level ups on top of that, all off screen. So she's pretty broken.
That speed is good. How good is the strength? I don't remember.
There's no strength modifier from the Armored Lord, I think, so I think that's alright. Not fantastic, but good enough. Okay. Wyvern!
Yeah, I was always so afraid they would change that, like, automatic reclass thing boost in a patch, and that it would ruin runs so badly. But fortunately, they never did.
I never thought about that. That would screw things over so badly. But yeah, so that Empire Pegasus Corps battalion we've been training up this entire time, we just passed it on to Edelgard to give her as much hit as possible. And again, she's on a Wyvern, and flying classes are really broken, but if there's one thing that they actually properly balance in this game with Flyers, it's the fact that Flyers can only equip flying battalions, which are relatively limited. So, yeah. But the Empire Pegasus Corps battalion is pretty solid. +4 attack, +15 hits. Pretty darn solid. And we also got Yuritsa for free, the Donkey Kong, just FYI, and he's going to be a useful unit as well. So, yeah. Shopping trip. So just for marathon purposes, I'm gonna give Edelgard a few extra kills just in case, just to give her a few extra levels for safety. We bought a training axe.
Let's clean up.
Only for this chapter.
Daybreak.
I'm grateful.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite sound in the game. One of the top 3. Training axe for accuracy. She has 84 hit on this boss, which translates to around 95, 96 hit. And that's the only time you'll see the training axe used. Yeah, so there's a 1 turn. Broken game. Flyer. Alright, next chapter. So I don't know if we're gonna save or kill Claude, because this is a chapter where we get to decide. What does chat think? What do you think, Claris?
Kill.
Boo. Save. Vote for save.
You have to kill Claude now.
No!
You killed
Save him.
Bernadetta. Now you have to kill Claude.
Claude's one of my favorite characters. Never.
Spare us from the Josija curse. Please.
From the Josija curse. So for those who don't know, Claris ran this game, the Golden Deer route in AGDQ 2020, and did a fantastic job of it. And we had Claude's voice actor, Joe Zija, on call for a good chunk of it, which was really fun and awesome. It was pretty awesome to hang out with him. And thanks to the Joe Zija curse, Claire's got a really, really strange screwed Claude in her AGDQ run. And ever since then, like, both of us have habits of, not habits. There's like a trend of both of us getting really string screwed Claudes very frequently, and we just call it the Joe Zija curse. So, thanks.
Yeah, Joe is awesome, but he also cursed us, so...
Yeah, he cursed us. It's all his fault.
It seems.
Alright, so Edelgard also came with her own relic, the Amir. The Amir in itself is a very good weapon. It's very powerful. It has 20 uses. It's accurate. And Edelgard alone can you also use a combat art with it called Raging Storm. Raging Storm is a really good combat art. It's very powerful. It gives, I think, like plus 10 hit, plus 10 crit, something like that. It takes up 4 uses of the Amir's 20 uses, so it's just a very powerful one-shot weapon. And Edelgard's speed is not super important. It's important for a few spots, but it's not super important because she's just going to rely on one-shotting everything. But Raging Storm also has another effect, just FYI, which you'll see what it does soon. First, I'm going to have everyone just unite around Byleth, because burning a turn to move everyone have the AI move everyone for me is faster than doing a warp or something like that. Again, differences between speedruns and LTCs, which stand for low turn counts.
Let's clean up.
I live! I actually got a kill just in case. For level ups. 35 strength already? Holy crap, that's pretty good. That's really good.
Yeah, that's the threshold you need for next chapter, right?
Yeah. Alright, Amir, Raging Storm.
What's the plan?
See ya. Oh, fancy moving a 12 move unit again. Cool. Yeah, Raging Storm lets you move again. It's pretty broken.
Kill him, kill him, kill him.
Enough! You've bested me. If I die here, the Alliance becomes part of the Empire.
Do you yield then? You've never known when to give up.
Well, you can't
So,
just surrender so
there was like a
easily.
$50 donation, wasn't
I'm
there?
responsible for the
Have there
others.
been any other donations related to Claude?
You're as smart as you seem. I
None
bet
at
you
all.
figured out why I was able to summon
And I think that $50
Elvira's
donation
reinforcements.
was... what? I forgot if it was
You
spare or
better
kill.
let me go and
It was
have
for
me in your debt.
saving.
Kill him, kill him.
I would actually try to kill him if it weren't for that donation, but that person donated $51.
Oh.
So... yeah, we're gonna spare him. Thanks for the $51.
Thank you, Professor. And you, Edelgard. I'm truly grateful for your courageous decision. I will
See ya.
return your kindness one day. I
But actually,
promise.
though, thank you for that donation.
Yeah, thank you. It may have personally disappointed me, but it's for a good cause.
Yep, a very good cause. So yeah, we have another calendar to go through. I don't have much else to talk about during this point, so if you have anything you want to pitch in or advertise or anything, then this is a good time to do so. Or any donations to read.
Sure, we can mention this event does have a hashtag. It's QFGHH, which stands for the initials of the event, Questing for Glory, Hope, and Healing. NAMI itself also has a hashtag to go along with this event. It's hashtag Not Alone.
I just realized, now that someone mentioned like Claude never returns his kindness, I just realized he doesn't give you the fail knot. Like he does in Azure Moon. Wow, rude. Oh, yeah, by the way, lecture questions all return in part 2, and they're different.
Let me
So,
ask you something.
that I've ran this game enough times where I have most of them just kind of memorized. Again, you want to give the worst possible answer. For example, Sylvain's worst answer in both part 1 and part 2 are bottom. Shamir's is middle for both parts. Edelgard is bottom for both parts. Linhardt is bottom for part 1, middle for part 2, I think. Yeah, middle for part 2. Yuritsa doesn't have any. But like it's not very much time saved, so like if you don't remember right off the bat which answer it is, you're better off just like spamming A instead of trying to like spend at least a second trying to remember which answer to give.
We totally should have killed Claude and taken his shoes away.
Sad. Okay, so this map is the introduction of the defeat all commanders objective, and I think half of the maps in part 2 of this route is defeat all commanders, which is probably one of my 2 favorite objectives in this game. The other one being defeat the commander if the commander's a boss. I mean, a monster, because monster bosses are pretty fun to kill and cheese. Defeat all commanders is what it sounds like. Kill every single boss on the map. There are 3 bosses on this map that we have to take out. There is a sniper here who is normally Shamir, if you haven't recruited her. A lot of people don't know that because everyone recruits her since she's a badass. Sedith we have to take out, and Alois we also have to kill. And Flame also spawns. I don't remember the exact trigger for her, but if she does spawn, you have to kill her as well.
There's like several triggers.
Yeah, there's like a bazillion triggers for her. I just know that whatever I do here doesn't trigger that.
Let's clean up.
Alright, so Stride. Have a dance.
Grateful for the Empire.
Have a raging storm. Whee! Boop. Dexterity is good. 1 dexterity means +1 hit, and we always want more hit. Thanks for not critting me, Sedith. Oh yeah, we just Raging Stormed again, so we just moved Edelgard 4 times in the same turn. So yeah, rip Sedith. And now we're just gonna have Edelgard stall here and wait a turn. And hopefully she survives, because Alois and the other wyverns can't hit her pretty hard, despite her 27 strength. But she should be fine. Yep, we're good. And now we just bonk Alois. So yeah, this chapter is pretty dangerous, because you need to have at least 35 strength in order to kill Alois without him counterattacking you. Because you need 35 strength to 2-shot him with the Brave Axe before he counterattacks. If he counterattacks, you're probably dead, because he has like over 90 hit, which translates to at least 98 hit. And usually you'll have taken damage from the other wyverns and Sedith as well. So if you don't have 35 strength, then this chapter is gonna be... You pretty much have to rely on like Crest of Flame procs or just really lucky dodge, like less than 5% dodges and things like that. So not fun if you don't hit 35 strength. But we did. So we are good. Alright, so we're at the halfway point of part 2, and Edelgard just got her unique mastery class called the Emperor, and it's not a terrible class. It has its uses over classes like the Fortress Knight, but no, we're just gonna throw her back on our Wyvern.
Top tier character design, though.
Oh, I love the design of it. I wish it could use magic, though. Like, it seemed pretty clear in development that they intended for the Emperor class to use magic, because it gives you a magic growth boost. And this game is really heavily based off of Genealogy of the Holy War, the fourth Fire Emblem game. And Genealogy of the Holy War has a class called Barons, which are advanced Armor Knight classes that can use every magic type. And given Edelgard was kind of roughly based off of one of the antagonists of that game, It's pretty. I feel like it's pretty clear that they originally intended for her to be like a Baron or something like that. But unfortunately, they made her not use magic as Emperor, which is unfortunate. Wouldn't be like super helpful, but it would have been really cool at least. She does have an interesting spell list. I think she's like 1 of 4 units you can use dark magic.
Now.
Her, Hubert, Lysithia, and Happy. I don't remember if Ursa learns dark magic. I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, this chapter is probably one of the most interesting chapters in the speedrun because it's a defeat all commanders map again. There are 5 bosses to take out, all spread around the map, so it's really hard to cheese this map really quickly. Even with Raging Storm. We're actually not going to use Raging Storm on this map. So yeah, we have to... I'll explain the map right now. So we have 5 bosses to take out. We have to take out Felix, who really wanted to be a dancer, but lost to Sylvain. We have to take out Felix's dad, who was disappointed in Felix from losing the dancing competition. We have to take out Gwendol. We have to take out Ingrid, who's all the way up here, and we have to take out Cornelia, who's all the way up here. So they're pretty spread out across the map. We have our work cut out for us. And we're gonna do a little bit of battalion shopping first. So we're gonna buy the Empire Holy Magic User for Linhardt. We've trained him in Authority so he can re-equip this B rank battalion. He barely hits B Authority. Blessing's gonna be a really nice support battalion for reliability's sake. And we're gonna buy Empire Magic Users on Ursa so he can use a magic-based gambit in the chapter after this.
Is that the one?
Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and stride up as usual first. And then we're gonna have Byleth try to use a gambit on this Paladin. 80% hit, which translates to 92.2% chance of hitting this. Thankfully she hit. And we're gonna go ahead and Brave Axe Rodrigue. So rip him, that's 1 boss down, 4 to go.
I am the king.
So by using the Gambit Raging Flames on this Paladin, we also rattle this Paladin and Felix so that Felix is not going to move, which is good because Felix is really dangerous. Really dangerous and really hard to kill. So it's pretty much a free way to automatically weaken him. We also got another weapon called the Axe of Zoltan, which is a very powerful, very accurate weapon, effective on armored units. So this Gwendol guy, who has like over 30 defense, we just kind of one-shotted him. And then we're gonna have Linhardt go ahead and use Blessing. What Blessing does is it allows a unit affected by it to survive a lethal blow at 1 HP. So basically, if the Byleth dies, she survives once, which is very nice. And she has a very easy chance of dying, a very reasonable chance of dying in this map in the turns coming up, which is, yeah. Right, now we're gonna hope to kill Felix. He has Aegis, so he might just have the damage we deal to him randomly, which he did, but we got a crit anyway, so it didn't matter. It's nice when that happens. Okay. And then also, one last thing, we have a side objective to make. There's this robot here called a Golem, and a Titanus or whatever. And Amir, the problem with Raging Storm is that we can only use it 5 times until this breaks. So we want to repair this, and that requires Agarthium. And we get Agarthium by destroying all 4 of these barriers. So what we're going to do with Byleth is warp her over with Linhardt. And then use another Raging Flames here. Which just will destroy the top 2 barriers and weaken the bottom 2 barriers. And this turn is a little scary because that robot hits Byleth really hard, and the other 2 Dark Mages can crit her and also almost one-shot her. So which is why Blessing is really nice on this map. Fun fact, my world record lost about 30 to 40 seconds to Byleth dying there, so... And this was before Blessing was a thing, so yeah. Alright. Alright, and then one last thing. The robot just moved into a position where these 2 barriers are gone, and these 2 are weakened. Shamir is a badass, and she can attack something at 4 range with Curve Shot, so she can finish off the lower left barrier for us. And then we're gonna dance for Shamir, and have her do it again. Oop. Thank you for the Garthium. I have a one-shot. Boop. 4 bosses down, 1 to go. And Edelgard is in the spot where she lured over Ingrid, so now we're just gonna finish her off. Do our face like that, and unfortunately kill her off.
I can't fall just yet.
And that's a chapter. 5 bosses down, and we got our Garthium. We have 2 maps left in this run. The nice thing about running this in a marathon is that since my estimate's like relatively high, I think it was like a 140 or something. And this is the shortest route. I can afford to take a lot of extra time to explain things, especially with the bios this good. Especially with the bios this good and the card this strong.
Yeah, that definitely helps.
That helps a lot, yeah. Things will be a lot tighter in Silver Snow because Silver Snow is the longest route and at least what's it called? The least reliable. I think I ran Silver Snow in RPG Blitz a few months ago, and I went over estimate by like over 10 minutes on the final chapter alone. That was a really fun and tragic, for lack of a better word, poop show. But we had a good time, so it's okay. And it was a good time.
Not the phrasing I would choose, but yeah.
We laughed it off, so it's all good. I think this is the last lecture question in a run, because month 4 is the last month of this route. But we do have 2 maps in a row. Yeah, the record for this category is, I think, a 116? I don't remember if I have a 114 or 116.
In this category?
Yeah.
I think it's a 115.
Okay, so I'm wrong both ends then. And I think the Golden Deer route is also the second fastest. I think my time's like around 120, 119, something like that. Blue Lines is like a 125, 124. And Silver Snow is a little slower than that. Well, like, I mean, all of the routes are done in like an hour and a half or less. So, pretty fast.
Blue Lions is an hour 22, so...
Okay, I'm
That's
really
not
bad
that
at
much
remembering
more.
times, I swear.
Yeah, Verdict wins an hour 20, Silver Snow is an hour 25.
Okay, I was
So-
mixing up Blue Lines and Silver Snow, I guess. Okay, chapter 17. Byleth is at 31 strength, so this is technically costs time, but this also helps with reliability because we're giving her effectively +9 hit with changing battalions. But we can only do this reliably if she has at least 31 strength, which she does. Okay, what's the time at anyways? Oh, 1:30. We have plenty of time. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off enemy phase skip for this map because this map has a lot to explain. There's a lot going on in this map in enemy phase. That's easier to follow if you see the enemy phase. This is a defeat all commanders map. We have to take out Mercedes, who spawns up here. Dimitri up here. Dudu down here. Rhea, who will spawn here, and Sylvain, or rather Sylvain's replacement, because we recruited him. So we have to take out everyone. We have everyone strided up as usual. We're gonna fly Edelgard down here. Yuritsa's gonna play an important role in this map. Dance for Edelgard. And then we're gonna use Blessing again with Linhardt because the problem with this chapter is that there's this Gramarye with Bolting, which is a 10 range magic spell with a high crit. This jerk right here. And she can pretty easily just one-shot anyone with Bolting. But with Blessing, that guarantees that Sylvain can always survive no matter what. So we're gonna go ahead and one-shot Sylvain's replacement with the Axe of Zoltan. Strength and Dexterity, the 2 most important stats at this point. So we need to make sure that Edelgard is out of range of that monster because that monster has Seal Strength, which reduces whoever is affected strength by -6. So we do not want Edelgard to lose 6 strength. Very bad. But that monster will attack Yuritsa instead, and it's fine for him because we're actually going to use him to attack with magic. I forgot how long this is because I haven't not skipped enemy phase in a long time.
How could I observe?
Okay. Yep. And then this monster attacks Yuritsa. He dodges, but if he hit, then Yuritsa would have lost 6 strength for the rest of the turn. Next turn. So we're gonna go ahead and Raging Storm. Right out here. And move again. This strat is pretty awesome, by the way. It's pretty badass. Shamir's gonna go ahead and stride everyone up back here. Yuritsa's gonna move a little bit closer, get danced, and then we're gonna have Yuritsa live,
You saved me.
because he likes saying I live, and have Linhard warp Yuritsa at least 4 tiles across. And then now Yuritsa is gonna go ahead and gambit Didu. This will prevent Didu from trying to gambit us. And we have 11 sword equipped, so we're gonna deal magic damage to him. And we're using a magic gambit to do a lot of damage to him. But we have the 75 hit rate on him, which translates to around 87 hit.
You will never
And he has more hit rate despite Didu's high charm stat, because we have Black Eagle Pendant, which gives him +2 charm, along with Yuritsa's personal skill, which gives him +20 hit when he initiates combat, which affects gambits, by the way. We're gonna Raging Storm here. So we had to land an 87-ish hit rate on Didu. And then we have to land 2 70-ish hit rates in a row on Dimitri. This Edelgard is really, really dexterity blessed. She normally has around 65 to 70 hit. So this is actually pretty good. Double 74. And we landed both hits, so that's really good. There's a lot that can go wrong in this chapter. A lot that can go wrong in this chapter. And finally, we're going to have Byleth move into this tile here, because Mercedes has 3 range, so there's no way we can counter her. But then by moving Byleth into this tile here, Mercedes can't attack us from any tile except this one right here, which is 2 range. So we can counterattack there. And now enemy phase. And we finish off Didu. And now we have Mercedes, who has Favice, which has a chance of having damage. She has Miracle, which gives her a chance of surviving at 1 HP. And we also don't have very good hit. We have 84 hit on her. So, but we got lucky, so we're good. If we didn't have enough strength to equip the Empire Archers, we would have around 70-ish hit. And if we miss once, and she activates Favice or Miracle, then we don't kill her and you lose a lot of time. So yeah, that would suck. And you would have to Divine Pulse, which we still have not done this entire run. I never used Divine Pulse entire... Okay. Yeah, so I guess I should explain that. So this run isn't... It's a dangerous run, sure, but it's not as punishing as it would be for a lot of other games, because Divine Pulse allows you to undo moves you make up to 3 times in a map, early on at least. You get more uses throughout the game. But we got pretty darn lucky throughout this run and never had to Divine Pulse a single time. So yeah, you get those runs. This is unfortunate that like I was treating this as a marathon run instead of like a real serious attempt, because this would have been such a sick run, but you know, it happens. It happens. Not at the end of the world. Alright, so we're finally on the last map in the game. In this route. And we're out of Amir uses. We used up all of our Raging Storms, but we have a Garthium to repair our Amir back up to 20 uses. And we only have 1 map left. So yes, we are using all 5 Raging Storms on this map alone. And this is a defeat boss map, but we had to take out 4 health bars from the Immaculate one, who is all the way up here. Yep, pretty scary fight. Okay, so I normally don't move Linhard, but I'm going to use Blessing with him just as a safety, for marathon safety. Alright, prepare. Thanks a bunch. Awesome music time. Music hype. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and Blessing Edelgard, so she survives a lethal blow, just in case something goes wrong.
I'm awake.
Move her up here.
Thank you. Well done.
Let's clean up.
We're gonna go ahead and dance for her, and we're gonna use Raging Storm 1 out of 5 on this poor Pegasus Knight. Yeah, just the normal 72 damage, no big deal. We're gonna ignore Sorel, he's gonna ignore us, and we're gonna dismount, because dismounting is faster, since you don't get prompted to move again. And the Raging Storm is effective on monsters, dragons, so this instantly destroys a barrier. So that's Raging Storm 2. We're gonna Raging Storm 3 immediately.
I did not betray
That's the first health bar down. Raging Storm 4. Or I can just attack normally and miss input. Okay, so we're seeing Divine Pulse. There's a Divine Pulse, okay. Raging Storm 4. Raging Storm 5. That's 2 health bars down. And then Brave Axe. And Rhea's only at 1 health bar left, but we're out of uses of the Raging Storm, so we're just gonna have to burn this turn. And yeah, sorry Sylvain, you're down. Okay. Time will be coming up soon, FYI.
Get wrecked, Freya.
Time.
GG.
GG. That was a fun run.
Definitely very fun. Thanks for showing it to us.
Hey, thank you for having us, and thanks, Claris, for hanging out as well.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so shoutouts to just a lot of the people in the Fire Emblem speedrunning community. There's been the route that you saw today is not just from like 1 or 2 people from routing the game. I mean, Claris and I worked on this route a lot, but there's been a community effort between a lot of people, especially through the first few months of the game's release, that have worked through this game. And I know if I start naming names, I'm gonna forget someone, so I'm not going to. But yeah, and like that really just highlights how I feel like Fire Emblem and most speedrunning communities in general, or RPG communities, is a community effort of just getting a route that's a speedrunning route, basically. So that's pretty much all I have to say for that, while we see this giant dragon fall down and get wrecked. Yeah, and Claude survives. So yeah, fun game. This game, it isn't too difficult to get into. I've written up a guide for like all the backups you can do, or what thresholds you have to hit, things that aren't really obvious from watching a video or whatnot. So there are written guides that you can follow to learn any of the 4 routes at this point. And we do have a Discord as well. You can find a Discord link in speedrun.com page. And there's also just other people who speedrun other Fire Emblem games as well. But yeah, this game is pretty fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's the first
yeah.
Fire Emblem game I've run, and I had a ton of fun with it.
It's a pretty cool game. Yep. What was the time?
Wow. It was 1:38:04.
Okay, awesome. So I wasted just enough time to still stay under estimate, but explain things.
Well, while we watch this.
No, I'm good. I'm pretty much done. This is pretty much the end of the ending cutscene, so that's all I have.
Shouts to Ferdinand von Eyre and Bernadetta. We will miss you.
Shoutouts to Annette. We forgot our girl Annette. Who, by the way, she was deployed on that last map as an enemy unit, but thankfully we didn't kill her.